Hello. This is my first video. Just currently started reading fantasy, and I'm finally reading Lord of the Rings. So, this is an awesome copy. Shout out my girlfriend Esther for buying it for me. And I'm loving it. I'm not currently done. I have about 100 pages left, but I thought I'd make this little video, talk about why I like it so much and why Lord of the Rings is so amazing. So first off, I wanted to talk about world building, the cultures, the languages, the histories in this book. There is so much world building in this book. It's insane. I'm not going to touch on this too much because I feel like it's talked about a lot on YouTube, but I think this is one of the strongest aspects of this book. I mean, my copy of this book came with these maps, and they're so cool. This is a map of like the entire world, and then specifically Gondor and Mordor. And they just add so much to the book. Anytime I feel like it, I'll just look at the maps and realize how the story connects, and it's so amazing. So, yeah, I mean, besides the maps, there's rich history that goes way back in each of the different cultures, from the elves and the men and the dwarves and the wizards. Even though the wizards aren't really talked about much, they're kind of a mystery. But, yeah, besides the history and the cultures, another aspect of the world building is just how he's able to make each region of the world feel so distinct. And I think that's one of my favorite parts for sure. I mean, I absolutely loved the part, I think it was in book 2, about Lothlorien. I mean, it's just so beautiful, and that was one of my favorite parts of the book. So, yeah. Another aspect of this book, or these books, that I loved were the characters. I mean, no one would care about the world building if the characters were boring. And my favorite character was Samwise. He's the best. Just a lot of times he would do things or say things, and he would be so serious, but it would just make me laugh and smile. He's the best. Besides Sam, Gandalf, Aragorn, Frodo, of course, the main characters are incredible. Watching them through the books, not so much Gandalf, but the other three, watching them struggle and then grow from these struggles that they faced are, I don't know, it's awesome to see that. Especially from the hobbits. You see it as well in Aragorn, though. Other characters I liked, Merry and Pippin. In the second book, you really see their friendship, and then in the third book, you get to see them separate, and watching them build that friendship, something that I really liked. Another friendship that I really liked, of course, was Frodo and Samwise, that started all the way back in book 1 with both of these friendships. So now, almost finishing book 3, watching how much they've grown, separately and together is pretty awesome. Other characters that I liked, obviously the villain, the Dark Lord. The complexity of the Dark Lord was something that really stuck out to me. Mainly Sauron's presence, even though you never see Sauron. I mean, I have 100 pages left. I haven't seen him yet. But you feel his presence throughout the entire realm, especially in the third book, but even in the first and second book. And that's just such an important aspect of this book and of his character, is kind of the presence that he has. Also, some notable side characters I loved are Golem, Faramir, and Eowyn. And the pivotal roles that the side characters have at certain points in this book are pretty awesome. Most of the other fantasy books I've read only the main characters really have big influences on the plot, but several times in these books, side characters have actually had huge impacts on the plot. Another aspect of this book that I loved was the underlying messages in this book. I'm not super great, I don't think, at analyzing books, but that's something I'm trying to work on through asking questions while I'm reading and watching YouTube videos. But some of the underlying messages that I got were obviously the good versus evil in this book. And from that was kind of just how much of a temptation power has, and how much corruption can come from power, especially looking at certain characters. Kind of kept the beginning of this video spoiler free, but as we get into the end, I might start sharing some spoilers, so beware. But yeah, just the temptation that evil can have and that power can have on even the most strong-hearted characters was very interesting to me. But the main message that stuck out to me in this book was that no one is too small to make a difference. And it even goes back all the way to The Hobbit. I mean, I love The Hobbit as well. But looking at Frodo and Bilbo and Samwise and Merry and Pippin and all these hobbits that are kind of disregarded, watching them be courageous, and even though they get discarded and people at times kind of tell them they don't need them, they just have it in their heart to make a difference and ignore what people say and go and end up, making a huge difference. So I really love that message from this book. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, why these books were so amazing, were the plot twists. There is unexpected heroism in these books. There is surprising characters that become evil. When you find out Saruman gave in to the Dark Lord's temptation. That was such a huge plot twist for me. When you find out that Éowyn actually came to war even though she was the only woman in war, and she made a difference. When you find out Aragorn's true identity. I mean, time and time again, there were plot twists, and I especially loved the plot twists in the action scenes. I mean, nearly every action scene, at some point, there was just a sense of hopelessness, and then some type of plot twist that would be completely unexpected would show up, and the tides would be turned, and hope would fill everyone's hearts again, and the tides would change. So that's basically it. Let me know if any of you watch this, what you think, if there's anything I left out about why these books were so good. And I'm just recently getting into fantasy as well, so if you have recommendations for series I should read that are similar to this in the fantasy realm, let me know.